Soil is just a whole ecosystem. And one of the things that's really important for soils is microbes that live in them. A lot of interactions that happen with microbes actually help plant growth and can actually maintain soil health or tell soil health. Hello, my name is Madaris Serrano. I am a research technician here at NC State. I work in the Shador Lab under the Department of Plant and Microbial Biology. I grew up in the beautiful island called Puerto Rico from a little town called Humacao. Really proud. It's been a journey. I've been here for 4 years in the United States, but most of my life I was in Puerto Rico since childhood. I was always curious about things, curious questions about the weather, about nature, about animals. And I envisioned myself kind of exploring all of my curiosities. I studied in the University of Puerto Rico, public university. I did my bachelor's in wildlife management. I did a lot of animal work. I knew science was for me when I was in the middle of nowhere in a mountain in a town called Calle at 12 a.m. looking for frogs. This is my jam. I decided when I graduated university that I wanted to explore different things. And I landed with Michigan State University in their LTR, which is a long-term ecological research station. And I was a intern at first, and then I became a research technician. And I was working with soil, I was working with plants, I was working with microbes. And I was just wow, agriculture is this whole big thing, and there's research on it. And yeah, it's been a whole journey. And yeah, I just kind of found myself exploring a lot of different things. And when I got to soil, I was okay, this is pretty cool. Here at NC State, I work with my PI, Dr. Shador. We're very microbiology focused, but we also have a big part in agriculture. So we basically try to understand process interactions between plants and microbes in North Carolina agroecosystems. And as an extension research program, we also kind of just translate microbial biology to growers. Our work is really important because microbial ecology is something that, it takes time to kind of understand if you are not very experienced in that field. So kind of doing our processes of different analyses and different experiments and investigations, answering these questions and generating this data and showing it to growers in a way that they can understand and they're okay, that makes sense, is really important because they can kind of touch into soil science through us and kind of just understand better their fields and what's happening in the soil through our research. A typical day of my life here in the lab, it's basically just getting at 9, check emails, because I do get emails from my PI or other people that we're doing projects with. Also, I'm kind of the lab maintenance person. So if we have to do biohazard disposal, if we have to kind of get things organized or order a new equipment or restock or something. So I'm kind of the go-to person for that as well. So whenever we get a new member, I go through training with them. So wearing lab coats. On labs, we need to wear closed-toe shoes, long pants. So it's a whole training, and it's very, very important to have it because if something happens, we want to address it in a safe way. I mentor students. That's another thing. I kind of help them go through their project, for example, to extract DNA or do a PCR reaction. Those protocols are extensive steps that you have to follow. And also you need to use equipment with those. So basically it's just kind of sitting down, this is what you need to do. We do it together. And once they want to do their poster or presentation, I'm that contact person. I'm actually leading our field sampling. So I'm going out to the field, I'm collecting samples, I'm coming back, I'm putting them in their place, archiving samples. Every lab generates a lot of samples. So there has to be a very organized procedure of organizing those. Also doing analyses. So I do library preps, which is basically just looking into microbial communities within soil samples and things like that. I do also outreach. For me to kind of talk to growers about microbes. I think what surprised me most about my job definitely is I was not expecting to be able to do outreach and be creative about it. So it was very surprising because I've seen, movies show scientists in a lab in their little bench just doing research and that's it. You don't see much of like they going to growers and talking about, I did research on your field and this is what I found. And like having those connections with people was just like, for me, was eye-opening that it's not only the work that you do, but it matters and you share it. I think some of the best things of my career, not only doing the science, but actually having a question, being able to answer it from different procedures. It's just fun to me. It's like a little detective work, and I always love that. I think that's one of the things that I love. It's just answering questions that haven't been answered, discovering new answers, and sharing. I think that's kind of like my favorite thing of my work. Sometimes you think scientists know everything and they just do it and it works, and it's not like that. It's a lot of like going back and forth and back and forth. And that was really surprising to me because it was humbling to know that, you know, I can be a scientist and do something and it doesn't work and it's fine. I just do it again. So yeah, communication is really big, because if it didn't work, then you might ask somebody, hey, how did you did it? Because it didn't work for me. So I did find myself kind of just like going to other labs, going to other people and be like, hey, I know you have experience with this procedure. I'm doing it for the first time. How did you do it? Because it didn't work for me the first time. So a lot of like collaborating, a lot of like being open to being critiqued, and kind of just like not take it personally, be like, okay, that's just professional work. I just need to do it again, do it better, and just do it. So yeah, it's like patience, communication, and persistence, definitely. I think if I would have talked to my high school self, I will tell her, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna find that place where you feel like you belong, and you're going to love science. Like, you're not gonna be diving into many things because you already choose science, so that's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna be great at it. As a Latina in science, I think it's really important to just understand that we are welcomed here. We can be scientists, we can be whichever profession we want to be. There's gonna be challenges along the way, but it's not something that should like bring you down as a professional, and as a person as well. So it's really important to kind of just keep in mind that you belong here, and you can be me, and it's gonna be great. So there's a lot of fear at first, but then once you kind of like get out there and be yourself and be passionate about what you do, it's you know, it's something that just comes with that. It's like success comes with work, and a lot of, you know, just kind of like getting in that state of mind that I belong here, I can be a scientist. We Latinos can be scientists, and it's amazing what we can do.